Welcome back to Coaster Keepers.
Hello, today we are going to finish up with part 5 of our review of our Disney trip that we took way back in March now. Seems like forever ago. But we're very excited to be finally finishing up this series and to start making some more regular videos. This is our Hollywood Studios, specifically Toy Story Land and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge review. And we went to Hollywood Studios twice on our trip. Once was on March 9th and once was on March 13th, which was just a couple days before the parks had their temporary closure. So it's very interesting.
The first land that we are going to talk about is Toy Story Land.
Toy Story Land. Toy Story Land.
We're big fans of these movies. They're probably my favorite. And we were really looking forward to visiting this part of Hollywood Studios.
And we were not disappointed.
No.
It was awesome.
It was phenomenal.
Just the land in general, I mean, being in Andy's backyard, you really shrunk down to the size of the toy, like they say, and everything. You can see Andy's footprints on the ground. I mean, it's just very immersive, very, very fun.
There's so many different types of toys that are represented. Like, there was so many board games and, like, activities from my childhood that I completely forgot about, but then I saw them huge at the park, and that was really cool to see. Even,
like, all the little, like, fences were Tinker toys.
Yeah.
So everything was, like, within the theme, which, of course, Disney always does, but it was amazing this time. So there's 3 attractions that are a part of Toy Story Land. And the first one is Slinky Dog Dash. It's a launch roller coaster. It's built by Mock Rides, and it opened with the rest of the land on June 30th, 2018. Morgan, what were your thoughts on Slinky Dog Dash?
I think Slinky Dog Dash was probably my top 3 things we did on this whole trip. It's hard to say because the whole trip was fun, but personally I liked Splash Mountain and then Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and probably my third of the top 3 would be Slinky Dog Dash. We kept calling it Slinky Dinks.
Slinky Dinks.
So I almost said that.
Keep it short.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a great roller coaster, I think, for anyone, even, kids, I think, can ride it. It's a lot of fun. It has some launched elements, so there's some intensity there. It's not too fast, though. And I especially like there's a section with a lot of small bunny airtime hills that you actually get some good airtime on. So
it might be like a fun first real roller coaster too. I think we wish we would have sat by someone small who was enjoying this as their first roller coaster.
Yeah, I think it would be great for the first roller coaster. I definitely agree. The only thing I've heard is it looks really cool at night too. I've heard there's a lot of cool lights.
Yeah.
We unfortunately didn't get to see it at night just because our last day we had to leave the park at 4 or 5, so we didn't get to see it. But next time we're going to get a night ride on Slinky Dog Dash and see if it's any different.
The next ride we're going to talk about is Alien Swirling Saucers.
Alien Swirling Saucer. So it's just a spinning ride, and it opened again on June 30th, 2018, like the rest of Toy Story Land, and it's based on the aliens, the little green aliens that are in the movies. Morgan, what do you think?
I think I might have it. I don't know. I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion, because I'm sure there's people that agree with me.
Yeah.
But this ride was lackluster.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Okay, so it was I think it was the first attraction we did visiting Toy Story Land, which I'm so thankful we were able to go, but something was wrong with this ride. I don't know if it was since it was the first ride of the day, first hour the park opened. It was not smooth. When you went around in the the circle, it would make a really loud buzzing noise and
there was a weird
screeching
noise.
kind of. So I wonder if it just needed some grease or I don't know, but it wasn't that enjoyable because of it. It really took me out of the story. And I love the aliens. They're probably like one of my favorite characters.
Yeah. We got a little selfie with the alien vehicle.
And that was cool. And that's a good picture. But yeah, it needs some improvement. And I think the aliens deserved better. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. But it was also nice that we wrote it right when it opened, so we didn't wait at all for it. If I would have waited any amount of time for it, I probably wouldn't have liked it. But I thought for what it was, for a spinning ride, I thought it was at least, like, unique. I don't know. It was kind of the way that the cars moved throughout the track seemed unique to me, not like a spinning ride I've been on before. I'm not a big fan of spinning rides because I get sick in my older age now. I'm not so young anymore, but but yeah, I thought it was unique at least, and I think, you know, little kids, I think would like it. But if it was a long wait, if you're thinking like, oh, should I ride this if it's more than like a 30-minute wait? Probably not.
The next attraction that we went on is Toy Story Mania.
So Toy Story Mania, it's a 3D shooting dark ride. It's manufactured by EFT Ride Systems, and this ride was actually built and opened in 2008 at Hollywood Studios in what was Pixar Place at the time, and then they kind of flipped the ride queue around, and so then it ended up working perfectly for Toy Story Mania, or for Toy Story Land, I mean. So I don't know if they planned that ahead of time, that far ahead, but if not, it worked out really well.
Yeah.
What do you think? I've been on this one before.
I love this one. A really fun queue. We actually had a fast pass for this one, so we didn't actually get to go through the whole queue, but I think a lot of the time you miss some of the queue elements when you have fast passes, but I think we got to see a lot of the scenic elements that they designed as a part of the queue. So that was really cool. Mm-hmm. And the actual ride, I thought was really fun. All the different games. The technology was super cool. Mm. It is a little bit older now, this ride.
Yeah.
But this versus Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin, I think they both have that fun game element, but I thought the technology was much better, and I actually got some points on this one.
The technology is much better. I think in 2008, I remember I was young when I wrote it. I think I first wrote it in Disneyland on a trip when we went out there, and I feel like the technology was really advanced at that time, like with using the screens and the 3D glasses and things like that. But I think the technology still holds up.
Yeah, it does.
And I think like some people might be like, why do they have two Toy Story shooting rides? But I think they are different because the thing I like about Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin is everything is like actually like constructed, like the animatronics of Zurg and everything. And then this one's like the screen, which allows you to do more in terms of the technology. But I think they're kind of different in terms of ride experience.
I think so too. And I was going to say that it fits the movies being about toys. It fits really well to have a ride that's a game. So I have no problem with both. They both are great and have their own unique options.
Yeah, I like them both. And this one has like 6 different games that utilize the same kind of system, whether it's like a ring toss, pop the balloons. So it's definitely a different experience, and they're both really fun, and we both enjoy them. Yes, so that's the rides, the attractions in Toy Story Land. There's only 3 currently. We also had some food at Woody's Lunchbox. So Morgan, do you want to tell them about what we ate at Woody's Lunchbox?
Yes. The first thing that we had was it looked like a Pop-Tart, but it was called Lemon Blueberry Lunchbox Tart. And it was like a pastry with a filling, blue frosting, and a little Pixar ball on the top as like a little fondant decoration. That was delicious. I
don't know.
I just wish it was warm.
Yeah.
Is it always cold? I don't know.
We ate there, again, right early in the morning because we got to Hollywood Studios both days at opening because we wanted to try to get our boarding group for Rise of the Resistance that we'll talk about later. But we went over to Toy Story Land the first day in the morning, and we had seen the picture of this tart, and we were like, that looks so good. And it tasted good, but it was not warm. I don't know if that's just because it was early in the morning, like they made a bunch because they knew people were going to head over there in the morning. But yeah, I think it would have been like 10 times better if it was like warm, like a Pop-Tart right out of the toaster kind of deal.
I don't know, like, well, first of all, I think I liked it more than you. I remember you were kind of disappointed it was cold.
I was.
But I wonder if the little candy Pixar ball on the top is why they couldn't warm it. Like, would that melt? And the other flavors, they didn't have any decorations really. So I wonder if maybe that's why.
Because there's also like a maple bacon one.
Yeah, and there was a strawberry something one.
But so I was a little disappointed. It's very like picturesque and it looks good and it tastes good, but I feel like it could have been better if it was warm. But that's just my personal opinion on that.
And like we said, we ate breakfast there, so we had the smoked turkey breakfast sandwich. I don't remember it being like beautiful or anything. It was just an average sandwich with thick sliced smoked turkey breast, melted Swiss cheese, sautéed green peppers, onions, and scrambled eggs on sourdough bread. It was good.
I remember I liked it a lot more than the tart, so that might have just been because I was hungry too. It was filling, and I thought it was warm. So I liked that. Maybe because I was disappointed in the tart, I liked it more, but I'd recommend if you're going to get a breakfast sandwich, I'd recommend it. And
then the last thing, I also got a regular Joffrey's coffee, because the thing about Hollywood Studios and with all these new lands and rides is that you have to get there right when they open to get your boarding group for Galaxy's Edge. So I did get a coffee, and that was the first time I ever had Joffrey's. They don't really have that in Ohio. And for those who are debating, I do think it's better than Starbucks. Ooh. It was pretty good.
That's a hot take.
Yeah, good coffee.
I don't like coffee, so I don't have an opinion, but there we go. And then other things that we did or saw in Toy Story Land, we saw a little bit of the Green Army Men show. I think there was a little drum corps show, and then they were also kind of doing interactions with children at the time, if I remember.
Yeah, correctly. I remember they kind of go up to people in the crowd, bring them in, and they did like minute to win it type games with them, which was really interactive and fun. They had great energy, and people were crowding around them. Like they were. I would say they were like the most popular thing. Like, as far as live shows and things going on, they were pretty popular in that area.
Yeah, and I mean, if you haven't seen the Green Army Men in the parks, they look literally like walking toys.
Yeah.
Of Green Army Men.
It was awesome.
So they have that look completely down, so they nailed that. And then we also got to meet Woody and Jessie, which I think was amazing. Awesome. We loved meeting them. We got to meet them for like, I feel like it was a long, you were saying this to me, but you were saying it was a long, they take longer with each person. I don't know if it's because the line wasn't that long when we met them, but.
The line was long.
It was long, but.
I don't know how you forgot that. That queue is kind of awkward. It's like, it lines a fence.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of queues are like that, but that one was weird because we were in the beating sun. And it felt, I don't know, to me it felt like a really long line, and then we finally got to meet them, and we had a great interaction. It was worth the wait. They met us for a long time.
Yeah, that's a good picture.
We got so many good pictures. I had my hair braided, and Jessie, she told me that we have the same hair and that we're matching.
Yeah, that wasn't a coincidence, though. I saw you looking at her hair while we were in the line.
They signed our books. It was really great to meet them. I know these were characters that we were really excited to meet. So that wraps up Toy Story Land, and now on to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
So we will give a little disclaimer. We're not super big Star Wars fans. I've seen some of the older movies. I haven't seen any of the new movies, which a lot of Galaxy's Edge is based around. So we might not be the most knowledgeable on Star Wars itself, but we're going to talk a little bit just about our experience in Galaxy's Edge. It was pretty newly opened up when we went, so we'll talk a little bit about it. So let's talk about, of course, attractions first. And one of the attractions is Millennium Force Smuggler's Run. And that's a motion simulator.
No, that is not it.
Millennium Force. That's Cedar Point.
Cedar Point.
Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. Yes, much better. Like I said, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. It's a motion simulator ride. It opened on August 29th, 2019. Did you like this ride, Morgan?
It was average. I didn't hate it.
It was fun. It was very... I thought it would be very fun. So there, you get different crew positions. You're piloting the Millennium Force, which is really cool. And you're in a group of, I think, 6. And there's 2 pilots, 2 engineers, and I should have known this before I started talking about it. But there's another one. I think it's like gunner. I don't know. You're manning the guns, basically. And we were, I think, were we the gunners or the engineers?
We were different.
We were different?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I was an engineer, which I think...
I was a gunner, I think.
Yeah.
Whatever that's called.
What I was saying about this is I think it would be the most fun to be the pilot because you literally are driving the ship, and if you, crash, you crash. And I know... We had, a couple of young kids as our pilots.
There was some little kids as the pilot, and I kind of wanted to be the pilot, but they had so much more fun.
I'd recommend if you can somehow try to get your way into be the pilot, I'd recommend that because I think that'd be the most fun. But I remember our ship got a little banged up, and when we ended, they were yelling at us for banging up the Millennium Falcon. They were like, "You did not do a good job on this mission." So. It's similar to Mission Space, but what is really cool about this is everything that you do actually has an impact. Unlike Mission Space, if you don't press any of the buttons in Mission Space, nothing changes.
I don't think it's anything like Mission Space.
Well, no, not in terms of the G-forces, but in terms of the simulator aspect of it.
Yeah. And this one, your buttons actually had reactions.
Which is really cool. And so...
Yeah, it was cool.
I think if you're a big Star Wars fan, too... I mean, the Millennium Falcon is... If you get to pilot the Millennium Falcon as a big Star Wars fan, I would imagine that would be, a top experience for you to have.
Yeah, so, I could see that.
I mean, we enjoyed it, and we're not big Star Wars fans, and that's kind of what I feel like in Galaxy's Edge as a whole. If you're a big Star Wars fan, you have to go to Galaxy's Edge. You will love it so much. I mean, we really liked it, and we didn't even completely understand everything. So if you're a big Star Wars fan and you're thinking, should I do this? I would say... Definitely yes. And going off of that, the next attraction was Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, which a lot of people have been talking about lately. It's a trackless dark ride, and I'll just say it's more than a trackless dark ride. There's much more that happens. We don't want to spoil it because it's a very amazing experience. The whole attraction as a whole is just, it's unlike any other attraction that I've been on before. And so, but it opened up on December 5th, 2019, so a little bit after Galaxy's Edge opened up. Some of the technology wasn't quite ready at the time, but that's just because it's so technologically advanced, and it's an amazing ride. Morgan, what are your thoughts on it?
This ride was an experience. The ride itself could have been a whole storyline for a movie. I mean, all around immersive experience. I really enjoyed this ride, and I don't know. I knew I would like it, just because it had some sort of thrill and some sort of story, but I didn't anticipate to like it this much. It was a really great ride.
Yeah, I mean, I would completely echo what you said. It's the most immersive attraction that is in the world today, that I know of, and I've heard of a lot of people saying the same thing. So definitely check it out. We don't want to spoil too much of it, but
I think every rider has a different experience on this ride. We rode it 2 different days, and it was amazing both times. There was so many surprises, so many turns that this ride takes. It's long. It's a long ride. Long. And you can tell that they put a lot of energy into making this the best it could be.
And it was well worth it, I think.
Well worth it.
Well worth it. Well worth your time. Well worth, I would say, the price of admission, even if you just did this ride. And that's, again, coming from not even big Star Wars people. So definitely would recommend Rise of the Resistance.
And that kind of sums it up for attractions in Galaxy's Edge. But we did have one food-related thing. It was at Docking Bay 7, which is a quick service restaurant. We had a drink called the Moof Juice. I'm sure if we were familiar with Star Wars movies, I'm sure that's a reference to something, but we didn't really get it. Sorry. But the Moof Juice consists of Simply Fruit Punch, Simply Orange with pineapple and chipotle pineapple flavor, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was really good. Evan picked it out.
It was very interesting. It was interesting. There's chipotle in there with the fruit, so it's like a spicy fruit drink. It was good. It was tasty.
We sat in that restaurant over in the little kind of corner area. There's like these barrels. We sat over at a table on the barrels. Really beautiful architecture design that they did for this area. I think kind of going to our next point, we walked around in that restaurant and in the shops over there, and I think we had a good time looking around and just enjoying everything that they had built for this land.
Everything is so immersive in that, like, the rock work and everything. It looks like, you're on like another planet. So we didn't really even like know where we were going. We were trying to get to Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah.
And, most amusement parks has a big sign for the ride, but that's not exactly like immersive in Disney's eyes. So there's not a big sign for Rise of the Resistance. So we couldn't actually find where the ride was at first.
Oh, we walked right past it.
Yeah, we walked right past it. So be aware of that. I mean, the Disney app will help you out if you're there.
And let's talk about the boarding group experience for Rise.
Yeah.
Like, we kind of forgot about that. So both times we went to the park, we got there before the park opened. We actually stood in line outside of Toy Story Land. Was that both times?
Toy Story Land one day, and then one day we got in line for Star Tours, which is the other Star Wars ride. So
the first time we actually stood in line to get into Toy Story Land, and while in line for that, we tried to get our boarding groups for Rise of the Resistance. Mm-hmm. It was crazy because the people next to us in line, they got like boarding group 3.
Yeah.
And we literally did it at the same time, and we got boarding group like 40.
We were like, one day I think we were like 47, and one day we were like 53.
Yeah.
But we got on at like, it was on like noon or 1 o'clock both days.
Both days.
We definitely had time to spare.
One of the days the ride broke down or something.
Yeah, the first day.
Yeah, and we still got on it at like 1. So, I've heard a lot, I listen to a lot of the Disney podcasts, and this ride does break down a lot. I don't know the logistics of it, and especially during like COVID times, I don't know if it's harder for them to not operate at capacity.
Yeah.
But don't let that discourage you if you get like a really high boarding group, and I think you'll still be able to ride. I don't exactly know how high you should kind of be worried for, but they're fast, and they are really good at their jobs on this ride. They put their best cast members on it. So
yeah, I think I've heard of people just around the park being like group like 100, or just like on social media being like up in the hundreds, early hundreds, and still getting on. So I think they only guarantee up to like 50 or something like that. I don't know off the top of my head, but don't be discouraged if you get a high boarding group. Like, we were like, oh geez, we're probably going to be like late into the night, and we got on at like noon. So it worked out really well for us. Just one thing with the boarding group, the only big thing about it is you have to be in the park somewhere within Hollywood Studios to get your boarding group on the app. So just be aware of that. And honestly, I haven't looked. It might be a different process right now with COVID. I think it's the same, but I really don't know.
But that's the end of our Disney Park series.
That wraps it up for us. So,
There's a few experiences we didn't talk about that from our trip. We did go to Universal for one day, both parks in Universal, and we went to downtown Disney for a night. And I'm sure we'll be able to tell you about those experiences in future videos. Let us know if that's something you're interested in.
Yeah.
Please subscribe, because we're trying to reach 100 subscribers. When we do, we'll get a custom URL, which will help us creatively and also help us gain new followers. So
definitely like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe.
And to those of you listening in on your preferred podcast network, thanks for tuning in. Goodbye.
See you next time.